Hey guys, and in this video I want to take you through a tool known as Ontraport. As many of you know, some of my most popular posts have been around my reviews, the tech reviews I've done of different tools, and in particular CRMs and email marketing tools over the years. And due to that popularity, I get a lot of questions from people all the time, whether it's through Facebook or whether it's through the contact on my website, or even just people personally when they meet me. I get a lot of questions about, well, which tool should I use? Should I be using Infusionsoft? Should I use Ontraport? Should I use ActiveCampaign? What about MailChimp? What about this? And for a long time, I have been a user of a particular platform, which initially was called Office Autopilot. For a long time, probably talking 8 years or something, maybe not quite 8 years, maybe six, but still a long time. I've been using a tool called Office Autopilot. However, when they rebranded and they changed their name to Ontraport, what happened is they released a new version. It was kind of Office Autopilot 3.0, and that was when they launched and rebranded to Ontraport. And at that time, they had a lot of problems. As with any kind of software upgrade, they basically rebuilt the tool from the ground up, and it was just a bit of a shit show, to be honest, in terms of bugs and problems in the system. And so at that time, I lost my faith in Ontraport. I still kept it for one of my businesses, but for my other businesses and for most of my clients, I was pushing and promoting them to move on to a different platform called ActiveCampaign. And I'm still a fan of ActiveCampaign, but I've got to say that Ontraport really have lifted their game from those times of when it was all really not great when they released 3.0. At the time of recording right now, they've released 5.0. So they've gone through a number of iterations since that time. And I've got to say that most of the things that were really wrong with it, they've built a really great team, one that's constantly iterating, but two, the tool has really gone through a great evolution. And so I want to take you through Ontraport. I want to tell you about what I like and also what I don't like, and ultimately, help you work out if it might be for you or not. It's not going to suit everyone, and I just want to really give you a chance to see what the tool is about, and give you my thoughts on who it's good for, who it's not good for, and kind of show you some of the things that are great and point out some of the things that I think could be improved as well, because no tool's perfect. All right, so let's kind of dive into it. If you've never heard of Ontraport before, here I am. I'm on their website, ontraport.com, and basically, what is Ontraport? It is an email marketing automation platform. Well, it's not just email, it's a marketing automation platform. And some people would call it a CRM, others would just call it a marketing automation platform. And so ultimately, it's made up of a number of different things. It's designed to help you automate your marketing campaigns. And that does that through, business automation, through CRM, contact management, email marketing, SMS, postcards. Postcards only work in the US. So if you're US based and listening to this, then postcards is relevant to you. If you're anywhere else in the world, Australia, Canada, anywhere else in the world, basically UK, etc., postcards aren't supported natively. It also has landing pages built in, so you can create landing pages. Marketing automation, so building out kind of full-on flows, kind of business automation and marketing automation. Really, they're the same thing. They're just saying it slightly different, really. To try and show you that you can do more than just automate your marketing. You could also automate some of your back-end processes as well. Membership sites, marketing tracking, metrics, dashboards. So really their focus is, and I've had this conversation with Landon, their CEO. I've got a great relationship with them over the years. And Landon, his vision has always been for this to be a small business, the all-in-one tool that a small business needs to run their entire business. And when he initially told me that, I was not a fan. And my experience is that most companies who try to be all things to everyone end up doing nothing really well, do a whole bunch of things average, and nothing gets done really well. And that's typically been true. And for a while, Ontraport was very much in that category. But I've got to say that right now, I can't promise it'll be like this forever, but right now, Ontraport have done a really, really good job of nailing the all-in-one. So if you are looking for an all-in-one system, like you just want one tool that can kind of govern, maybe it won't do 100% of your business, but maybe 80, 90% of what you need, then seriously keep watching this, and Ontraport could really be a good fit for you. If you're a little bit more like me on the techie side and you're a big believer of getting best in breed tools and kind of connecting them all together, Ontraport can still work for you. You'll just know that you'll need to end up getting a lot of different tools, but we'll talk more about that later. So let's kind of dig in. So as you can see, they've got a whole bunch of different features, but rather than me go through their website, you can see that yourself. Let's actually jump into the tool. So here I am, I've logged into one of my accounts. So I've got this is like an account that I use for testing because in my done for you agency, our team need a place to play around and work on a tool without doing things in a client's account. So this is what this account is. That's why there's no metrics. But this is the dashboard. So you can see here across the top, it shows you the dashboard. You have contacts, tasks, sales, partners, pages, tracking. And then you've also got the ability here to get into other settings. So the metrics dashboard, this is pretty cool in how it's highly customizable. So each of one of these like little metrics you see here, these are the built-in default ones, right? But you can customize these. So see how when I put my mouse over it, I can click this little. I can then change I can change the name of the metrics. I can see what kind of metric do you want, right? Is it number of contacts who did something, number of times something happened, average number of times something happened per contact? Is it a conversion rate? Is it the average time between two things happening? Right, so I've got these really great opportunities to choose what type of metric this is, which, I got to say, the flexibility of what this allows you to customize to your specific business and your specific metric needs. I mean, most other tools, this is something I really like about what Ontraport have done, not just in their metrics, but across the board. They've really made it quite flexible and customizable. Now, I'm sure that gives them a lot of support headaches because everyone's using the system so differently. But it really has meant that the tool can really be customized and tweaked to a lot of different business models and needs. And metrics is a really important thing that every business, especially maybe not in the early days, but especially as you start to grow, being able to track those key metrics is really important. And other tools will often just give you what they think is important, right? They'll just show you open rates and they'll just show you, number of contacts, and doesn't really give you that flexibility to adjust what metrics that you're looking at. And so this is something that Ontraport's done really, really well. You can also choose what the default time frame is, right? So by default, when you load the dashboard, is it going to show you number of times something happened today, or number of times something happened in the last 30 days. So maybe we'll change that to last 30 days. And then you choose what's the trigger. Okay, so we're saying we're going to count number of times something happened. Well, we might want to go, it's going to be a specific form. So for example, we could choose that it's this ebook. So it could be then ebook submissions is what we're going to go for in the last 30 days. And so it's only people who have filled in this specific form is what it's going to count. I can even add additional conditions. So it could then also be, and if the contact doesn't have a tag, let's see, no tag. Okay, only gives me good. Yep, doesn't have a tag. Yep. So I'm going to say, and it doesn't have Batman VIP member. Okay, so now what we're doing is, X VIP. So now we're counting all the submissions who went through this form who weren't already a VIP. And I can just save that, and then you can see there it's going to calculate and change. You can also see that you can swap through. So even though you're changing you set the specific default, you can still go through and adjust and look at the same metric across different time periods without having to edit and create multiple metrics, which is great. And you can also create complete new ones, right? You don't have to just edit the existing ones. So this is really cool. And so it can be dollar sales, it can be a whole bunch of different things. So I really like what they've done on the dashboard in terms of customizable. What I think really could be improved here is, to be honest, it feels very clinical, boring, and metric driven. Some visualization tools on this would be really great. If there was the ability to create a graph or somehow more visually represent some of these metrics, that would really allow for the non-number type people. I mean, let's face it, for most of us, when we look at this, all these numbers, we just see a wall of numbers. It gives no meaning. For me, I know in my own business, I've built a dashboard that's very visual with different graphs and different things, and I would really love to see that Ontraport bring that into this metrics dashboard so that you can just get a little bit of customization and visualization into how you look at some of these metrics. So you could kind of, and that would be cool if you could then compare some of these metrics against each other as well. So that's what I think could really be improved on the dashboard. But if you're just getting started in business, this metrics dashboard is probably not going to be super useful for you in the beginning. You're going to focus more on some of the other tools. So let's talk about contacts. So by default, when you go to the contacts screen, you're able to easily see and you can search through the different contacts. So if I wanted to find just Miko, for example, right, I can very easily find just Miko. You can also create groups of people. And so there are already some built-in groups here, and these groups have different specific conditions. Now I just need to remove that Miko filter. But so here I might have been looking for everyone in Australia. So if I go edit group, I can see what this is. It's looking for the field of country is equal to Australia. And so what it's showing me right now is that, well, there's no one that matches this filter of Australia. So I can just go to all. But I can create a group that matches a specific condition. And the benefit of that is that once you have a group, you can kind of go all in group. And then from here, you could easily email everyone in that group or SMS everyone in that group or add a tag or create a task or add them to a campaign or sequence or do something related to Facebook, a whole bunch of different, change a field, right? So it really gives you that ability to do a lot of custom things to a specific group of people. And those conditions can be stacked on top of each other, right? So with this Australia one, I can add additional condition where I might go and, I'm going to make it tag actually, and they have the tag 6FL, right? So now I'm looking for people who are in Australia and have the tag, okay, and have the tag 6FL. And that would then mean that this particular group would only match those criteria. As I said, which the power of that is, one, you can easily then see how many contacts you have that match that. You could do that with metrics as well. But more importantly is you can then easily do bulk actions to those groups of people, which is really cool. So let's then look at And by the way, everything you see across here, again, to Ontraport's credit, they've made everything really customizable. So all of these things you see across the top, name, email, phone, right? You can, and there's more if we scroll, but you can adjust this and you can create extra ones or whatever you like. So you see that little thing there? I can create extra. I might go, you know what? I want to include company, right? I'm going to make company be in there instead. Okay, so if I now go, you see here it's showing me the company. Pretty cool. If I want to add a column, so that was me editing a column, but if I wanted to add a column, not just replace, and so I might want to put score back in, I can do that as well. And you can also choose how you're sorting. So right now it's sorted by date added, but you could adjust that and go, well, I'm going to sort it by last activity instead, and maybe last activity the opposite direction. Cool. So you can see here company, these ones have company details, whereas these ones don't. So let's look at a particular contact. So if I just click on any of these, it's going to open up the contact screen. And this gives you an overview of that entire contact. Now, one of the things that it does really well is it shows you all these kind of built-in fields. As also a bunch of different kind of sections. You can then see what tags, sequences, campaigns, etc. they're on. You can see a log of what's happened with this contact. So have they clicked a link? Have they opened an email? Did they visit a web page? Depending on what you've set up, that whole log of what's happened for this particular contact, have they purchased a product, is all going to show here in the contact log. Another thing that they have really great, which if you're doing your work yourself, if you're outsourcing to a company like mine, an automation agency, or whether you're outsourcing to someone else, you're not doing it, this won't be relevant to you. But if you are setting this stuff up yourself, things can go wrong. When you are working with complicated automations and sequences, sometimes things don't do as they were supposed to. And with most tools, it can be really challenging to figure out, well, where did it go wrong? Ontraport has this great, as well as the contact log, right, which is relevant to you as the user and looking at a contact, but this is more for the techies who are the kind of admins of your setup. The automation log shows you what actually happened and kind of where things went wrong and what automation they were put into and what steps fired in those automations. So this is really awesome for being able to figure out what went wrong. So that's something I really love that Ontraport have that at least right now I'm not aware of any of the other tools having that real great ability to troubleshoot what's happened. So you'll notice here that there's kind of different sections, right? So there's kind of pages or tabs, and then there's sections, okay, contact information, and then you've got the fields. Now, all of this, again, to Ontraport's credit, is customizable. So if I wanted to move this lead information into like the notes and tasks tab, I easily could. So all of these tabs, I can create new tabs. All of this can be created, improved, moved around to suit your business and what you need. Compared to the other tools, this, you're kind of stuck staring at what they've given you. It's nowhere near as flexible as what Ontraport's given. Now, what do I think could be improved? I would love to see some sort of visual. Again, I think it's great. They've done a huge improvement to the interface, but I'd like to see if someone had a gravatar, meaning if they've already got a photo online attached to their email address. I'd love to see a photo just auto-populate. I'd love to see if it's detected or if we've got stored anywhere their social, like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. That from one click, maybe up the top here, I could load up their Facebook, their LinkedIn profile, their Twitter profile. Just some social, and while we're on the social side, I think there's real opportunity for them to look at having some sort of a social suck data feature. Maybe it's a premium feature, maybe not, but again, if there is certain data that is public on Facebook, profile pictures is one, but more importantly, like if it could tell you what country they're from and you don't have the country field, it'd be great if it could detect that and allow you to tell your database to populate based on the publicly accessible data that people have on their social media. Now, a lot of people don't make all that public, but having that option, in particular, I think the image just really helped. If you've got people on the phone, if you're more of a sales-based company, it can really help you create a better connection when you can kind of visualize who you're talking to. Also, if you have virtual teams, sometimes people from the name, they can't tell if they're male or female. And again, this is where a photo can just really help you better understand who you're talking to and have a good communication. If you're just doing everything automated, then maybe that's not a big deal for you. So that's the contact page. And as you can see here across the top, you can then on a per contact level do a bunch of different things. Send them an email, send them an SMS, create a task, Facebook, so you can add them to a Facebook audience, which we'll talk more about later. Log a phone call. So if you actually had a phone call with them, you called them outgoing or incoming, you can log that so that it's put into the contact log. You can log a transaction. So if you've got their credit card information stored, you can actually manually process a credit card transaction. Double opt-in, probably not as important these days, but if you're in certain countries that you have to do double opt-in, you can kind of rerun that double opt-in request to these people. Okay, now all of this can easily be changed. If I just want to, I can just kind of type in 123 York Street. No, it was just really simple, no page refresh to update that information as required. So that's pretty cool. Let's move on. So we've looked at the contact page, and as you can see, yep, a whole bunch of different tabs, whole bunch of different stuff. Let's keep moving though. Let's talk about campaigns. So this it comes under the contact screen. Now, campaigns is a new feature that only came out with Ontraport 5.0, and ultimately a campaign is a visual map. In the past, the old Ontraport or Office Autopilot, you had sequences which were separate, you had rules, you had messages, and different types of sequences, whether they were step sequences, date sequences. Now you still have all of that. You still have all of that. However, they've now created a visual map that makes it easier, which now brings Ontraport more in line with both with Infusionsoft and ActiveCampaign. That was something that both of those had over Ontraport in the past, that they had a more visual, easy to kind of structurally see the automations you're building. Ontraport has now done that, and they've made some significant improvements in how they've done it compared to other tools. So I'm going to show you that. So there are some certain templates here. These are kind of help, if you like, kickstarters of some standard things. You can check out. They've got like this marketplace. Some people can share them. I'm not a big fan personally of these pre-built campaign maps. I like to kind of start from scratch. And so the first thing you'll see here is that there's a trigger that when they're added to the campaign, and then what happens next. The cool thing, one of the coolest things that Ontraport's campaign builder has that ActiveCampaign doesn't, although Infusionsoft does, they do have this ability, is you can have multiple triggers. Now, the benefit of multiple triggers is it gives you the ability now to have people kind of start at different places. So in the past, if you had a specific automation flow that needed to run, and then you had other people you were maybe importing from another system, and you needed to get that, you needed some people to start on the first step, right? But then you needed other people, so let's just quickly say that, some people needed to get the first step, while other people needed to just start on the second step. So some people you wanted to get the email, then wait, and then change tag. Other people you just wanted, they already had that email from a different system or for whatever reason. You want them to skip that and go straight to the change tags. Now in the past, you would have to basically duplicate the entire kind of sequence or automation flow, and then edit it, and then put people on different automations. And that would kind of screw up your metrics and a whole bunch of different things that it just made it more complicated. Whereas now you can create different triggers. And so once you add a trigger, I can now choose, well, this particular trigger might be when they're given a tag, a specific tag. And this tag might be, trigger skip. Hold on, I have to create the new tag. Trigger skip 2 second. That might be the tag. Don't need any other conditions. So now what I can do is say, well, if they're on that, well then I'm going to actually have them. Where's the go to? Go to, here we go. I'm going to have them go to, and I don't want them to go to the wait, I want them to go straight to the change tag. And so now, if someone gets, what's going to happen is if someone's manually added to this campaign, well, they'll start here. However, if someone gets this tag added to them, as soon as that tag's added, they will then instantly be dropped to here. Right? Now, I could have on this made an adjustment to, kind of add a condition that they're not already on the campaign. Has been on the campaign for a certain time. I haven't saved it yet, so it's not actually giving me that option yet. But I could have then made sure that it didn't run to people who were already on the campaign. And that's something else that's kind of really cool about what Ontraport's done with the campaign builder is a contact can actually be in multiple places at once on this map, on this campaign map. So other tools like ActiveCampaign and Infusionsoft, they are more linear in that a contact comes in, and let's say they're here on this wait step. We couldn't then have them also come in over, let's say, on a completely new trigger that doesn't link back up. It's completely separate. Let's say they purchased a product. Cool. So they purchased this product. So let's say someone started here and this was promoting that product over there. Now, I might want them to continue to get this flow, but then when a product's purchased, now in the past you would have to create a completely separate automation to keep track of a product purchase, which is good, but at the same time, if it all relates to one specific campaign, you'd like to be able to have one place you can look at it all. And so with the product is purchased over here, we don't need to use a go-to or any way to link it back to the map. We can just do a completely separate flow of what happens. So we could then have maybe a wait condition, and then we're going to send them an email. And so now, if a contact buys the product, but they're also at this wait step, well, unless we create a condition to say, hey, if they've bought the product, don't continue, they're going to continue here as well as continue down this path as well, which is really cool and gives that, again, that flexibility of the overview. So you can see here you've got this overview navigation that helps you move around, because as you build out this this kind of setup, it's going to get a little confusing. Like you can create conditions. So now all of a sudden it's, well, if that condition is true or not, it's going to go down. And all of this, you'll see here that it hasn't asked me any specific details yet, except for the triggers. I'm able to map out the general flow of, I want it to send an email, I want it to do this. And then I can go in and actually set all those conditions I want. I can actually then go and edit the specific things. I can set, well, what's the tag that we're going to add or remove? The wait period. What kind of wait is it? Am I going to wait here forever? Am I going to wait for some time to pass? Am I going to wait for a date relative to a contact date field, which is really cool? Am I going to wait for a specific day of the week? Which that again, you know, this flexibility, the options for what we're going to wait for is really powerful as well. So I'm a really big fan of what they've done here with the campaign map. It's really brought Ontraport in line with the other tools, and they've actually taken a step up, because the ability for multiple triggers like this, and unlike Infusionsoft, for example, Infusionsoft, you know, the campaigns, if you've used that, the campaigns can become very messy because all of these elements, you kind of move them around yourself. Whereas they've taken the approach similar to ActiveCampaign, where it just auto creates the structure for you. So this map will just continue to grow. You don't have to move things around, and that keeps it kind of neat and tidy. So that's really cool of what they've done there. You know, in terms of where the campaign map could improve, right now I don't have any massive improvements. I think, you know, they've given a lot of different actions and options, right? You can add them to another campaign, you can remove a campaign, you can add them to a sequence if you want to still use the old sequence setups. You can update a contact field, you can send them an SMS, you can create a fulfillment list. Now, a fulfillment list is basically like an Excel or CSV file that it'll like add someone to this CSV file, and then it might be scheduled that at the end of the day, everyone on that CSV file, it'll actually send that CSV file to an email address. So that's great if you're working with a fulfillment house who fulfills orders, or, you know, even someone internally in your own team. They just need to get a track of this every month or every day. So fulfillment lists have got some really great options. You can assign a task to a team member, so an internal team member. You can notify someone on your own team with SMS. As I said, postcards only work in the US. You can add a product to their purchase history. You can add them to a lead router. You can recharge a transaction. You can cancel an open subscription, open order, which we'll talk about billing in a second. And then they've got these filters, these ability to split, so you can split test part of your campaign and send, you know, some people down one path and another people down another path. You can also fork. This is actually something that when I first saw this, I wasn't quite sure what the point of it was. But this is where you can have someone go down two specific paths. So as I said, because a contact can be in two places at once on this map, or more than two places, multiple places at once, you could have people go down this path and down this path at the same time, which means you could create these kind of different flows, different wait conditions, etc., and so have two things happen at once. So for example, if you were doing like a webinar sign up, you want people who are going to go down a flow that's going to remind them to show up, as well as maybe a flow that waits for them to actually attend. Right, so from here there might then be a wait condition for the tag to say that they've attended, as well as down here having the reminder to show up at the same time, all from that initial kind of forked position, which is pretty cool. Goals. This is something that's useful as well. Again, with a goal, you can have someone wait for a specific condition. So who can achieve this goal? Any contact on this map, or only contacts who are on the previous wait, meaning they're on the step before, the wait just before, or only contacts who are upstream of this element, okay? Or any contact in the entire account, meaning that even if they weren't already in this campaign, if this condition is met, they instantly appear at this part of the campaign. They get added to the campaign and get added to this part. So I often, for most of the time when I'm using this, it's more going to be only any contact upstream. You can also choose, is it going to be activated once per contact? But yeah, then you set, well, what is the goal? And the goal might be that they purchase a product. So instead of, instead of how I added this new trigger over here, I can achieve the exact same step by going any contact in the account. When they purchase a product, it means now anyone in the account, if they purchase this product. So if I don't need this whole thing anymore. So I know it's kind of, I've mixed up because it's in here, but there's this wait for the goal to be reached. And then as soon as that's happened, well, what happens next? Now you can also go sideways, right? So you can have multiple different goals. So it's waiting for one of these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 goals to be achieved, and based on the goal being achieved, then what happens next? So as I said again, really a lot of flexibility is one of probably the biggest advantage that I believe Ontraport has created in allowing you to do different things. So I'm just going to say test campaign. I'll save this. You can save it as draft, or you can save it and publish it, make it live. Which is really useful as well. So it means you can work on your campaign, make changes to it without affecting the live approach. One of the cool things that they have done, I will talk about this while we're on the campaign. One of the things that Campaign Builder in particular they've done, which is unique right now to the other tools, is they've really made it ability for you to report on specific what's going on. Right, so you can find out, well, how do contacts flow through the campaign map. You can find out about conversions, lifetime value, goal conversion rate. So you can better understand with the reports. You can actually better understand, well, which trigger, which lead source, which email is performing the best, which which flow, what emails, what marketing am I doing that's actually working. That's what you can do with the use of these campaign reports. They're tracking. How long does it take for someone to achieve the goal? So you'll be able to get the data, which gives you actionable. What I really like is this is actionable data that you can use and do and make changes and decisions with. As marketers and small business owners, we need the ability to, we need to know data, but more importantly, we don't just need data for data's sake. We need to know stuff that allows us to action and make decisions. And I think they can do some more improvement. I think they can create more reports and make these more obvious as well as to how they work. And that could be through some training as well. But this is a really great feature that I think a lot of people who sign up for Ontraport don't really utilize and realize is there. So if you already have Ontraport, or if you do choose after watching this video to get into Ontraport, I highly recommend that you make the most of these reports when in the campaigns, because they really give you a lot of opportunity. All right, so we've talked about campaigns, and I took a while there, but it's a really important part. The other thing that's really good is, as Ontraport, they have a central place for all the messages that are used within your campaigns, within your emails. So you can go in here and create your different messages if you need to. So if you're working with a team such as automation agencies or someone else's, if you're the one writing the emails, it might be easier for you to just jump into the system and create the email and write it as you want to. And then that way the team who are building the actual campaign could just pull in the existing message you've created, which can save some time. Also, it makes it easy to search for and find different messages if you need to as well, if you want to edit something. One thing you should know is that they've got the ability to split test your emails, which is really cool as well. So I think that's really useful. Forms, like any of these types of systems, they give you the ability to create forms. Now, Ontraport have 2 types of forms. They have what they call a smart form. A smart form is really just a bunch of fields on a form, and you can embed it on a page or put it onto something, right? It's more for the technical crowd, as it says. Otherwise, you've got this Ontraform, the ability to create a new or copy from an existing form. But if you create a new form, they've made it a visual form builder. Again, they've got these kind of templates you can use. I'm not a huge fan of using templates. I'd rather build from scratch. But this is they have a similar approach to how they build emails, how you can build visual emails, how you build your landing pages, which I'll show you in a second, and these forms. So they work on a structure of kind of rows, or they call them blocks, and then they have these templates for each block. Right, so I can add a block, and now there's a whole bunch of different types of blocks that I can use. So this is, I can have banners. So if I'm looking specifically for a banner. Now, what I like about this is if you're not a great designer or you're not got a specific idea in mind, this can allow you to create some really quick and easy, right? So I've just added in some buttons. This can allow you to create some easy options. I might want to add in an order form. They've got a couple of different order form designs. So I might add in this order form. And so I've been able to create this form pretty quickly, and then I can just go through and edit and make the changes. So I can then change this to say, buy now and save. Buy now. What I don't like about this approach is it doesn't give you the same flexibility. I think what they've done is good, and it's useful for you if you're not a designer and you just want something that looks fairly good. But at the same time, it is kind of restrictive in that you can only build things that there is a block that kind of matches what you're after. You can do a little bit with some custom CSS and things, and if you're a techie or you've got a tech team, that they can do a little bit more than what you might see here. But I don't know. Just something about it. I'm not a huge fan of this approach. I'd rather a more full visual page builder where I have full flexibility to add a button, to add all the different elements, rather than that I've got this pre-built element that I can only edit the elements in there, right? So for example, if I wanted to add more text between buy now and sign up and save, I don't have the ability to put in some text or an image or anything in there. All I can do is kind of edit these or hide these specific elements. So that's one thing that I don't love about the whole kind of their visual approach to page building, to graphical forms, etc. One thing I do like, though, I do need to say about their forms in particular is when you're publishing, sorry, let me just call it new form. When you're going to publish a form, you've got a number of different options, right? So you can have this form be a light box that just pops up on your site, right? So you can design it all, and then it will just give you the code to put on your site. You can embed it in a page, so it can be a form that sits on a page and people fill it in, or you can make it a click to pop light box, meaning there's a button, and when they click on that, it will then pop up the light box, which is really cool as well. So they give a lot of flexibility that you can have this one form that you've designed, and then you choose how you want to embed it and use it. And one of the things you can do is you can actually connect. You can make a thank you page of a form, right? You can make the thank you page of a form to actually be another form. So if you had a light box and then like they fill in a form and they click, say, a button that says next, it's going to submit that, but then you can have the next page that it goes to be another light box pop-up. And that means you can create this kind of multi-step form approach, if you like, which is pretty cool and is kind of unique in the market as well. I haven't seen others take that approach. So I really like what they've done on that approach there. Now on a form, you can add tags, you can do all the kind of the usual things, start an automation based on someone filling in the form. Let's talk about tasks. Let's talk about tasks. So tasks, this is a place where you can see all the kind of tasks that are pending and when they were due and what they haven't been done. I feel like tasks is one of the not as great tool. You can see here people can mark it as complete, they can email. I don't know, there's just something about tasks feels not all that useful to me. I don't personally use it, so it's hard for me to kind of give you insights. I'm sure there are others who use it amazingly and they tell me that it's the best tool, best feature. So I just want you to know that there is the ability to have internal tasks, but people have to log in to Ontraport to kind of work with these tasks. And it's not like you're giving them, well, you can in the task details, I suppose, give them step-by-step instructions of what they can do. One of the things that I do like about what they've done with tasks, though, I'm not going to be able to show it to you, I don't think, but they have the ability to set up task outcomes. I'm just going to see, so with a task, you can actually have it when you go to complete it, that there is an outcome for that task. And so, like, for example, if you had a task that you need to call a client for a sales, you can have a task outcome. You have multiple task outcomes that when I go to complete, I can choose they bought, did not answer, went to voicemail, or left a voicemail. So there's all these kind of different options you could set as the completion of that task. And the cool thing there is you can use those task outcomes in your automations. So if you made that call and then you didn't automate, and then you said you left a voicemail, you could have that automatically trigger an automation step that would maybe reset the task, create a new task. So instead of letting the user, your salesperson, have to remember that, oh, I left a voicemail, I need to create a new task, all they have to do is choose the outcome that happened, and you can have whatever process you want in your system to occur, whether that be follow-up email gets sent to the person saying, hey, we left you a voicemail, or whether that's a task gets set to try them again in 2 days or in an hour or whatever. That's really cool, and again ties into the flexibility that Ontraport have gone in terms of their creations. All right, I don't want this video to go on for too long. I know we've already spent quite a while, but as you can see, this is a pretty big tool. There's a lot of features. So from a contacts kind of point of view and automation, we've kind of covered the contacts and automation stuff. And as you can see, they're quite flexible. Let's talk a little bit about the billing features. Now, not everyone who uses Ontraport uses their billing features. Myself, in the business that I have that uses Ontraport, I don't really use their billing features. That's for my own personal kind of preferences and different reasons. But I want you to know that it exists. And so you've got the ability to create products. Now, products can be a subscription product, they can be a one-time product, they can have a payment plan, and then you sell these products. So a product could be a service, they just call it a product, right? Think of a product as a billing conditions, right? Whether that's a subscription ongoing thing or whether it's an actual one-time charge or payment plan. You can see here, you can have free products as well. And then you sell these products through the use of a form, and specifically an order form. So remember when I was creating the form, I added the order form approach. Now the order form is not super flexible in what you can do. They have certain fields you have to show, and so there are some limitations there that I don't love. They don't give you that flexibility on the order form approach, at least at this stage. But the products is really great in terms of the subscription management. And one thing I will show you in the settings, that's reports. The settings is if you're using Ontraport for subscriptions, one of the biggest challenges with a subscription business is people's credit cards fail. They change the credit card, it's declined for whatever reason. And you have to kind of set up all these complex automations to try and figure it out. And so Ontraport have this recharge setting where you can choose, are you going to recharge the credit card every X days, and how many days should you keep trying? So at this point it would recharge, if a payment failed, it would keep trying to charge their card every 3 days for 90 days until eventually one of things happens. That's fairly standard. What is really cool that they've done is they've got this first time the transaction fails, run these rules. So you can have specific rule happen the first time a transaction failed. You could have it send them an email or whatever. After the first failure, then you can run these rules every time it fails. So if you've got this set up to retry for only, maybe 9 days, meaning it's going to retry 3 times, then on the first failed, you might have it send an email and say, hey, so it looks like there's something wrong, reply back and let us know if there's an issue. After it fails the second time, you could have that trigger a task to your internal team to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, your payment's failed, we've tried to charge it twice, what's going on? And then if it completely failed, if you had a membership site, for example, so on the last fail attempt, you could have this then, kill the service, basically, take away their permissions to access the membership. And then you've got if the transaction is successful. So basically during the retry, if the transaction is successful, so if you had actually on the first one killed their membership, well then as soon as it's successful, you want to give them back their membership access. So you can set up these rules as well. That's something that is really powerful. In terms of their billing, you can see here they have shipping methods, coupon codes, taxes. They've got a lot of functions in there. They've got upsell settings. I won't talk too much about upsells. And they have different payment gateways. And so payment gateways, basically you can connect it to a bunch of different tools. Right now, they are one of the only, if not the only platform I know that works with eWay in Australia. So Aussies, if you're using eWay, you can use that with Ontraport. They of course use Stripe and PayPal. Here's what I don't like about the payment, their billing system. Firstly, it doesn't handle multi-currency natively out of the box. There are some workarounds to make multi-currency work, but it will throw out all of your reports because the system won't know that, well, one person was charging US dollars and another person of this product was charging Australian dollars. As far as your reports are concerned, it was just charged that amount. It doesn't know the currency conversions and stuff. So it can skew your reports if you choose to use them. The other thing is that the workarounds, they're not awesome. There are some third-party tools that have been developed to try and better handle Ontraport with multi-currency. So there are options available to you, but I want you to be aware it's not, if you want to be able to charge different clients, different currencies, all in the one system, just know that Ontraport is a little messy and it doesn't handle that well, and you'll likely need a third-party tool. The other thing I'm not a fan of when it comes to the billing side of Ontraport is with subscriptions in particular, with Stripe. And I understand why they do it, but I think you should be aware of it. So Ontraport, if you set up a subscription and you're using Stripe, for example, Ontraport is actually the one that manages the subscription and not Stripe. So if this is too technical for you, don't worry, stay tuned and we'll just tune out for a few minutes while I explain this. But for those of you who are technical who are aware of this, so Stripe, normally the subscription, if you're setting up a subscription with Stripe through, say, Gravity Forms or some other even direct custom code, Stripe itself will handle the billing subscription. They'll store the credit card and it'll be a plan inside of Stripe and it'll handle all the subscription stuff. And the benefit of that is that, if I all of a sudden decide I'm not going to use Ontraport anymore and I'm going to go to a different system, and as long as that other system works with Stripe, Stripe can just continue to handle the transactions and everything is all fine. Whereas Ontraport actually handles the subscription and stores the credit card. And all it does when it works with Stripe or eWay or whoever is it just sends a transaction one time, right? So it's not setting up the recurring transaction in the gateway. It's just sending a one-time charge each time. And so the benefit that it gives you, so let me explain the pros and cons. The pro means that if you are currently using Stripe and then your volume got really high and you wanted to switch to, say, eWay or Authorize.net or something else, you can, it's a little hard work, but you can manually change every open subscription you have, and you could change them. Instead of using Stripe now, it could use Authorize.net. Now that could mean you could save some significant fees, because if you get to a certain volume, absolutely other solutions are often better and more affordable, lower fees than Stripe. So that is the pro, and that is the argument that Ontraport give of why they do it. And they say that you're more likely to change your gateway than you are your CRM. The con, however, is if you do choose to change your CRM, if you go from Ontraport to Infusionsoft or some other tool that hasn't even been invented yet or we haven't come across yet, or for whatever reason, and you've got all these subscriptions built into it, you've got two choices. You, one, either keep Ontraport running just as your billing tool for all of those old clients, or two, you have to pay them some money and go through the process of kind of exporting all of that data and through PCI compliance and getting that over to your new billing platform. So I just want you to be aware of that when you're making your decision. Really with any of these tools, to be honest, is if whichever one you pick is really going to be the tool that you're going to have to stick with for a certain period of time. Because if you deep dive in, especially with a tool like Ontraport with so many moving parts, if you want to get the most value out of your investment, you're going to have to set it up to do a lot of things. And once it's set up like that, to move to another platform is costly in time, money, and opportunity cost. So just keep that in mind. If you do choose to use the billing platform, especially for a subscription-based business, that you're very much making it so you'll likely need to keep Ontraport. Even if you chose another tool later, you want to keep Ontraport because it's handling all that billing for you. So I want you to be aware of that. Let's talk quickly about reports, a whole bunch of different reports. I'm not going to go through them all, but you can see here, you can see different sales, you can get customer values, tax you've collected, all your upcoming scheduled transaction. Open orders is what they call subscriptions. Let's get through partner programs. So just need to know that Ontraport have a partner program or affiliate program. What do I like about it? I like that it gives you the ability to have different partner programs. So you can see here, you're not just creating one, you can actually have different partner programs. And also you can have multi-level commissions. So meaning you can have two tiers of affiliates. So an affiliate might refer someone else and they'll become like a sub-affiliate. And you could choose if you wanted to pay a commission to the person who referred that person. So you can just get, they call it two-tier affiliate marketing. And so that's a really good thing. Here's what I don't like about their partner program. It's probably the one feature in particular that Ontraport have that I would say is half-baked. It's as I said, one of the things that challenge with any of these all-in-one systems is there'll be certain things they do really well and there'll be other things that they do pretty average. And I have to say that their partner program is one of the things they do pretty average. It works, and if all you need is a simple type approach, and you want it all integrated and easy in one place, then the partner program will work for you. However, if you're trying to create a really specific type of partner program, that needs to work a specific way, you'll probably find that the partner program built into Ontraport won't do what you need, and you'll end up needing a third-party tool of some kind to do it instead. Okay, so that's the thing I don't really like about the partner program. It's definitely not a really polished, awesome, flexible. This is the part that doesn't have all that kind of custom flexibility built into it. So just know that and be aware of that. Yep, you can see all pending commission stuff, so that's just some of the reports that they have. Partner settings, yep, again, I won't go through that for you. Landing pages, we kind of already talked a little bit about this, but I do want you to be aware. So they have this kind of Ontra pages. They have the ability to do redirects and stuff. So Ontra pages really is very similar to what we just saw with when I was building a form. So this is their landing page tool. You know, if you go with Ontraport, you pretty well don't need, say, lead pages, for example. If you're using lead pages, if you sign up with Ontraport, unless there's a really specific template in lead pages that you're using and you want to keep using, everything you can do in lead pages, you can do in Ontra pages. That's what they call their landing page builder. So there's all these different templates. Again, they're pretty good. The one big thing, again, which I said I don't like about their forms, the same thing I don't like here, is that you're working based on blocks, and the blocks are based on the options and templates that they have available, right? So I can't custom create my own. Well, I can to a degree. They've got this custom HTML block where I can, if you know HTML, but they haven't made it so like, you know, clicking a button here, I can just add in a button and make it visually drag and drop like you can with some, say, WordPress page builders like Optimize Press or Thrive Architect, for example. Those tools, you can really customize that entire page to look however you like. So just be aware that your Ontra pages is cool. It's got this mobile display, so you can see what it looks like on a mobile version, but it doesn't give you the same flexibility that you can get with like a fully drag and drop type page builder. So I just want you to be aware of that. All right, we're coming to the end, and tracking. Let's talk about tracking. So this is, I got to admit, this is a feature I don't massively use in Ontraport, but I think it's important for you to know it's there because it can be really useful. So they have this ability to create a new tracking URL. So this is from this section. And so when you create a new tracking URL, you can put in like, right, I can then, so if you use Google Analytics, you might be familiar with UTM variables, and that's what these things are. So basically, this allows you to better track and create. Now, you don't have to use this tracking URL feature. If all you're using this for is like UTM type variable tracking, you could just do that yourself with, you know, and with the and UTM source equals and do it. You can just do that yourself, and Ontraport will actually pull that in. You don't have to set it all up in here. Where the benefit actually comes from is you can create a, so yeah, you'll see here that it just adds in. But where the benefit can come from is that you can actually create these tracking URLs that then trigger. That actually will trigger, and you can look at the history, but you can actually trigger automations and things based on these different URLs. So it's from a basic UTM variable point of view, it's cool and useful for you if you just want one place to keep track of all your different UTM, the different URLs you've built, when they were last tracked, etc. Which ones are working. And this does come into play when you want to better track which sources are working for you and which ones aren't. But you don't have to use their tracking URL builder. You could just type the UTM yourself straight into the URL. Okay. All right, let's talk a bit about some of these more advanced features. They have a feature called lead scoring, and this is something that I think is actually really, really cool. Because more than just lead scoring, what Ontraport has. So at first I thought, I thought I preferred ActiveCampaign's lead scoring because they can have multiple lead scoring tools. Whereas Ontraport, you're really just setting the lead score for one particular. There's only really one lead score. However, they have the ability with custom fields, right? So you can create custom fields for your contacts. And we talked about that before, how you can customize that and you can put them in different places. Well, you can create a new number field. Okay, so you can create a new field, call it lead score 2, and it's a number field. And Ontraport allows you in automations to run mathematical equations. So that means that you can actually add points or subtract points to that particular field. So you can kind of go contact field plus 10. So it could be lead score 2 plus 10 or lead score 2 minus 10. And you can do that and basically create your own custom lead score through mathematical rule equations in your automation. So I know that's advanced, and if you're not using lead scoring, you've never really heard of lead scoring, don't worry about it. Save that for later, you can learn. But if you are looking for lead scoring, that is something to be aware of. I only recently kind of really realized this, that you have the ability to create these custom lead scores, not just the one that's built in. Here's a really, again, unique thing that Ontraport, through their customization point of view. One of the biggest things that I've always been frustrated with any of these tools is a lot of them, like Ontraport in particular, is just a contact-based system. Well, what if your business needs a company and then contacts belong to that company? Or what if your business is even more different, like let's say you're running all these ongoing events and you want to better track which events people have come to. Now this is a highly advanced feature I'm about to talk about, and I would recommend that if you're going to go down and you want to use this custom objects feature, that you would work with a Ontraport certified consultant who's aware of custom objects. Now, this is something that Automation Agency, we don't touch. We don't touch custom objects. If it's already set up, we can work with it, but we won't set them up for people. It's just, it can be complicated. And so I don't recommend trying to do this yourself. But custom objects basically allows you to create these other things, not just contacts, and they can have a relationship. So you can create a new object, for example, called company, right? And then so it's company, companies. And then you can create, well, what is the relationship of this company? And you create, what are the fields that this object of a company has? Okay, so this is where we can now create fields. And so I could have a new section where I might call the company name, or I might have, their address, the company address. So I can create a whole bunch of different fields. You can add tabs, etc. I'm not going to do it right now, but we can add sections, add fields, add tabs for this specific object. And now all these objects, as you can see there, can go on campaigns, they can have tags added to them, but then you create the relationship. And so the company is related to contacts, and what's the relationship type? Is it one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many? Okay, one-to-many. And I'm going to say the company is the parent. And I'm not going to go through all of this, right? I'm not going to actually set it up, but I want you to be aware of that this really creates a whole different level of customizability and options to really shape Ontraport to suit your unique business. Now, as I said, just because you can do this doesn't mean that you should. I would highly recommend that if you want to make use of custom objects, that you work with a certified Ontraport consultant who's aware of custom objects. If you get this wrong and you start just happily building all these new objects in your account, you will create a mess, and the mess could be really hard to undo. So that's my recommendation is, if you're going to go through the part of custom objects, please get someone. But I want you to know it exists because it can come into your decision of whether you think Ontraport is a good fit for you or not. Localization, this is where you choose what your currency is of your account. Now this is important. Whatever the currency of your account is the default currency that it will charge through gateways, right? So if you set this to Australian dollars, it means when it's charging through Stripe, it's charging in Australian dollars, right? This is where as I said, that the multi-currency handling is not something that is really done very well here. Social, as we talked about, or as we kind of briefly saw, they do have custom, I'm having a mental blank, sorry, Facebook custom audiences. And Facebook custom audiences means that you can now add and remove people to an audience that you can choose to market to. So for example, as soon as someone buys a product, you could immediately add them to an audience in Facebook who have already bought that product. So if you had ads running on Facebook, convincing people to buy that product, well, you would probably have excluded anyone who's already bought. The problem with that is in the old manual way is you download a file, you download the list and then upload the list. Now there are other third-party tools that do this, but Ontraport saves you money because it's already built in. So you can just instantly update and add that person to, or remove that person from a custom audience, which really helps if you're doing Facebook ads. Other integrations and things, they have some WordPress integrations. So this, I don't know why they've hidden it away in here, but they have a really great integration with WordPress sites. You've got a plugin called PilotPress, which basically gives you membership site functionality. Instead of having to get a third-party tool to run your membership, you can run your membership through using their PilotPress plugin with WordPress. And then again, you can add and remove permissions and do it all, handle all of that inside your Ontraport account, which again, when we're looking at the sales recharge stuff, if you've got a membership site subscription, you can easily remove permissions or add permissions based on a failed payment or successful payment. Other advanced features, they've got global rules, which can just run no matter what. You don't need a campaign for. Facebook custom audiences, we've talked about, custom objects, tracking, tags on form submissions, etc., partner programs. Then they've got their legacy features hidden away. User management, you can add additional users, you can control permissions. So you can actually, if you've got users that you don't want them to have access to any of the billing features, you can create a user role and restrict them so that they cannot access any of the sales stuff. Or you can take off the ability to delete contacts. If you've got a general VA or assistant going in there and you're scared they're going to delete contacts, you can remove that permission from them. I would say if you are working with a consultant or a company who's doing done for you, I wouldn't recommend restricting access because that can create a challenge. They can't do your work for you. I know that we've suffered that from people in the past. But if you've got more an internal person that you are worried about, you can definitely restrict some of those permissions. Rules, which we just talked about. I want to talk about pricing. So this is a really important one, right? What's it cost? Well, you've got three different packages. We've got a basic $79 a month, which is great for you if you've got up to 1,000 contacts. So a lot of small businesses, this is going to suit you really well. Pro is where I'm at. Pro is the feature set that I use, and this gives you 25,000 contacts. Now, one of the things that it's really important to notice is that the basic is unlimited emails, whereas the Pro is 100,000 emails, and same with Team, 100,000 emails a month. Now, that might seem like a lot, but if you had 25,000 contacts, basically if you sent 4 emails to every contact on your database, you will have hit your 100,000 a month mark. And that will mean that you'll have to pay extra for the additional emails. So this is why it is really important that you aren't just blanketly sending mail to everyone on your list. But it is important when you're comparing the price of Ontraport to another tool, like for example, ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft, that you do understand the differences as to how many emails you get to send per month. And based on your contact level, how long it would take or how many emails that would be that you get that. A team obviously is a higher and again, same thing here, 100,000 contacts, but 100,000 emails a month. If you send 1 email to every contact on your database, it's going to cost you more than your $5.97 if you choose to send another email. You're going to have to buy another 100,000 emails, which cost extra. One thing I really like about what Ontraport do is they give you a 90-day money-back guarantee. So they don't give you a free trial. They don't give you a free trial, but they do give you a 90-day money-back guarantee, meaning they know that if you sign up and you start using this, if you use it for 3 months and you decide that this is not the right thing for you, you can cancel and request a full refund. And they genuinely will do that. There's no hidden catches. They will genuinely, if you go, look, I've tried to use it 3 months, doesn't work. As long as you cancel and request the refund within that 90-day period, that is pretty cool. Like, it's not a 30-day money guarantee. It's 3 months you get to use this tool, or almost 3 months, 90 days, depending on the month. But 90 days, use it. And if it doesn't work for you, they've got this great comparison that kind of shows you every feature. So you can see here the basic doesn't give you every feature. It is important that you do take a look at, well, what do you not get, right? You don't get the dashboards, you don't get the tasks features, you don't get custom objects, a whole bunch of different things. Just make sure you better understand before you pick your plan which one is going to work for you. You can add additional users as well. And so you'll see here, to add in another 100,000 contacts is $99 a month. To add another 100,000 emails that month is $99 a month. Okay, so that's something to be aware of when you're comparing your pricing. Let's talk about support. I really like their support. I think across the board, they probably have the most in-depth support documentation. Now, it wasn't always this way, but they'll have really great, like here, if you want to do Facebook custom audiences, their support documentation is so in depth with, prerequisites of what you need. Okay, first steps, telling you what you need to do in Facebook. Giving you the steps of here's what you need to click on. So, I'm a big believer in that if you're a business owner, you shouldn't probably be the person doing this stuff. You should be outsourcing this and getting someone who actually does this stuff all day, every day. So whether that's an Ontraport certified consultant, whether that's a service like automation agency, whether that's a freelancer, whether that's an internal, someone else. But as the business owner, unless you're in the early startup stage, and even then, probably not the best use of your time. Like, if you're not a techie person, you probably shouldn't be doing it. But having said that, if you chose that you wanted to, they have some really great step-by-step documentation that shows you exactly what you can do and how to do it. And there's all these extra articles. So for different integrations, right? Integrating with GoToWebinar, they have all these steps and information about how to integrate with GoToWebinar. Now, a lot of other tools don't give you this kind of level of documentation and step-by-step. So this is a huge thing that Ontraport has. Now, what could they do better? Probably organize it and make it easier to find. Yes, you got your search and stuff, but I think this is an underutilized feature. They also have a Facebook community, and their Facebook community is really strong. What I like most about it is that so many of the employees from Ontraport are in there, and not just basic employees. We're talking like people who've been there for 5 years, 6 years, high up, including Landon, the CEO. He gets involved and he answers questions and has discussions with the users in the Facebook group, and that's rare to see, and really you really feel like they listen. When there's a problem, Landon is the first person who will often jump into the Facebook group and kind of go, guys, here's the issue, here's what's happening, here's what we're doing about it. And I really respect that of him and of the company and their attitude to do that. So I think support is probably, aside from the customization stuff, personally, I wish maybe Ontraport didn't do as much as it does. That's just my personal view. I'd rather them be a bit more focused and not try and be all things. But their support is amazing, and they, even with such a complex tool and so many different pieces, their support guys are great. Now, obviously, sometimes you might get the more basic or new trainee support guys on the level 1. And if you're a techie person like me, that can frustrate you. Luckily, I actually, as I'm an Ontraport certified, our company is Ontraport certified, and so I'm able to skip the level 1s and go to more higher end people. So that's a benefit that I have. But I can understand that if you were a techie person, just be patient and maybe let the level 1 guys know that if you've already done a bunch of things that level 1s are going to tell you to do, let them know that so they can try and escalate you to a higher level sooner. All right. Integrations, so many different integrations, but one I want to point out is they do have a Zapier integration, which, if you're familiar with Zapier, really means that you can integrate with a whole bunch of different tools, not just the one that they have custom built-in integrations for. So when a form is submitted in Ontraport, that can trigger a Zap. or a contact is added to Ontraport, that can trigger a zap. Now, on first glance, you might look at their actions and go, oh, well, I can't do much with this. The only action I can do is create or update a contact. But you actually can. If you update an existing contact and you add a tag to that person or a sequence or run a sequence, you can then run other things inside of Ontraport. So if you add a tag, that can trigger an automation, a campaign, sorry. If you add a tag, you can trigger, you can update things like the dashboard. So you can add a tag that could just be specifically for that dashboard metrics. You can also add a tag to start a campaign. And inside a campaign or a sequence, you have a trigger action called webhook, or sorry, they call it a ping URL inside of Ontraport, and that allows you to ping to another system. That's what they call a webhook. And so that allows you to integrate with other tools from within Ontraport. So the one thing I really wish Ontraport did have when it comes to Zapier is I wish they had a search. You know, triggers and actions there, these are enough to do most of what you need. What I wouldn't mind is if you had like purchased a product or something trigger. Yes, you can technically do it from a campaign when the goal of purchased a product, run a ping URL. But it would just be nice if it was all built into Ontraport, into Zapier. But the search is one thing that I think they could really add to this. I think that would really be useful to make use of Zapier. In terms of the integrations, though, if we just look at their basic integrations, they have, as I said on the support website, they have this huge list of all these different tools you can integrate with. You can integrate with Xero, you can integrate, there's custom API, so you can build your own integration if you're a developer or if you want to hire a developer to integrate. You can work with WebMerge and Zapier and Plus This, which is a great tool for connecting Zoom and GoToWebinar and things to Ontraport. Calendly, which we can do through Zapier. So they give you all these different instructions of the most common things that people like to integrate. Thrive Leads, which I'm a big fan of. Other landing page tools, right? You know, you can use ClickFunnels if that's what you choose to, or Lead Pages. They do point out some of the limitations, like if you were to keep using Lead Pages, you can't track partner affiliates for Lead Pages. Different learning management systems, other membership tools if you don't want to use the Pilot Press built-in tool, postal mail. So for those of us who aren't in the US, we can still leverage other postal mail fulfillments like MailLift and Lob, which is pretty cool as well. I'm not going to go through all of these, but ultimately I want you to be aware of that there are a lot of integrations, and you can customize and build your own with their great API as well, including the custom object stuff. They have an API for custom objects. So it's really, if you're a developer, there's some really great flexibility in what you can get created. So I suppose, you know, I want to wrap up. We've been going for a while. This is a very long video, but it is a massive tool. And if you've stuck with me this far and you're still here, well done. And by now you're probably thinking, well, you know, Carl, what do you think? Is this the right thing for me? Look, as I kind of alluded to at the beginning, if you're a company that really wants to customize something to suit your needs, then Ontraport is out of the three main small business CRM marketing automation platforms of Infusionsoft, Ontraport, and ActiveCampaign. Ontraport is the most flexible, customizable system that you will find out of the three of them. Absolutely is, as an all-in-one. If you really want it all in one place, and you know your team just have one place to go, and you're okay with that, possibly, I'm not saying it will, but possibly in some situations like the partner program and others, that you may have to either get a third-party tool or get something custom API built for you, or you'll have to just change the way you're going to do it so it suits how Ontraport can do it. If you're okay with that, for the simplicity and one monthly fee and one place to go, then Ontraport's really probably a great fit for you, especially if you're a service-based business. I will say that if you are more an e-commerce-based business and you're using things like Shopify, WooCommerce, and really far more product-based, okay, that e-commerce add to cart business, Ontraport has a few integrations I personally don't think it's the best solution for that. I think you'd be better off with, say, maybe active campaigns, because the billing stuff, you're not going to utilize any of really of the billing stuff inside of Ontraport. And so you could really probably go with active campaign, and they've got a deep data Shopify integration and things like that would work well for you. So if you're e-commerce, probably not. If you're a service-based business and you want it all in one, you're okay with possibly at times adjusting your approach to suit what Ontraport can do for you, then I think you might find Ontraport is a great fit for you. If you're if you're a little more on my approach, that you prefer flexibility of not being an all-in-one and really kind of having best of breed technology, where you got one tool here that does this thing really well, and then you have another landing page tool that does that really well, and so when a new feature comes out, it gets implemented quickly. Now I've got to say, I have to say, before I finish what I'm about to say, I have to say that Ontraport has done a far better job at creating an all-in-one and keeping up with the changes and improving their system far better than I thought that they would, and far better than any other company who's created an all-in-one that I've seen in the past do. So huge credit to Ontraport and what they're doing. So I'm not in any way saying that their product won't continue to improve and be better. However, my approach, I do use Ontraport, so that's true in one of my businesses, but I also use Active Campaign in another. And I'm a lover of both tools. And I think they suit different people and personality types, but also different approaches. And so what I like about Active Campaign in particular for me is that it is they're focused on what they do. Now, right now, while recording this, they probably need to make some improvements, right? I don't know if it's really the best in class right now, but because they're only focused on that one thing, it means all their development energy is focused on that, as opposed to spread across landing pages, spread across affiliate programs, spread across contacts, spread across this, spread across that. So that's why I'm a big fan of being able to plug all these different tools together. Yes, sometimes it might cost me more, other times maybe it costs less, but having all these different tools connected to each other in one, rather than one tool trying to do it all, to me gives me a better solution. But that doesn't suit everyone. I'm a techie kind of person and I can handle that. There are a lot of small business owners that really that's just too complicated for them. And trying to manage all these different systems together, even if they're working with a team who can help with it, they'd rather just have one place they can go and work through it all. And so if that's you, I definitely would say take a look, try out Ontraport. They've got a 90-day money back guarantee. So try it out. That's the thing. Before you make a choice, try out a couple, see which one really works for you. Ontraport has made huge improvements. So if you looked at it over the past few years and you thought, no, this is bad, I encourage you to take a look at it again. Hopefully this video has been informative and shown you some of the improvements. To be honest, we've been going for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I haven't even shown you every single thing that Ontraport can do. So get in there, check it out, talk to their sales team. They're really great guys. They're a great company. They're not going to try and sell. They're unlike some of the others in the space. They're not going to try and just convince you to buy. Their sales guys aren't paid on commissions. That's an important thing. Their sales guys aren't paid on commissions, meaning it's not in their interest to just get you across the line because that's how they're going to eat, right? And that's an important thing to understand in the company, because that means that you can genuinely talk to their sales team and they're really going to look at, is this the right fit for you? So yeah, get in there, check it out, and if you like it, awesome. And I hope you find it works for you and it helps you grow your business. This has been Kyle with another tech review, and we've just reviewed Ontraport. Thanks for your time. If you made it this far, you are awesome, and I thank you for going through this, and I hope that's been helpful. See ya.